Welcome back to Forza Naples. I'm getting tired of saying it. No, I'll never get tired of saying it.
That's
We're
why
still top of the league.
I thought you were gonna start with your song.
No, I think the song actually turned listeners off looking at the analytics.
Okay.
I don't think people appreciated my singing as much as we appreciated my singing.
Yeah. It's takes getting used to.
It does. It absolutely does. Um, Welcome back to FC Naples. We should probably introduce ourselves in case we do have any new listeners. My name's Ian, joined as always by Paul. Paul, we're still top of the league,
Still top of the league.
still
Another
unbeaten in
game.
all competitions.
And we're now two or three games from tying the
From the
all-time
record.
from the
Yeah,
record for
nine
unbeaten.
nine straight unbeaten. And
Um well, I think in USL one, I think eight unbeaten games to start is the record for an expansion franchise. And with the way this team's playing, um, there's no reason to think that that won't stay the same. And I texted you the quote, and I was spamming you during the game because I was like, oh, this is some good some good content the from the ESPN analysts who do this professionally. So I'm glad that they have better one-liners than I do. But they said this is a reaction to this team, not an overreaction at this point, and we're approaching that point. Obviously, I feel like until we play everybody, you can't say that fully. And once everybody starts coming into form, because we do have the advantage because we played so many more games than everybody else, it seems.
yeah,
Um, but this team, it's time to start taking seriously and saying that this is who they are, not, it's no longer an overreaction to we're top of the league. We are unbeaten. Like these things are starting to carry more weight game by game are carrying more weight than when you start out 1-0, or 1-0-1 as we started. And yeah, it's been another really fun match on Saturday.
yeah, another great match. Just a gritty, solid performance by the whole team. To get two goals early and jump out to a 2-0 lead against currently the second best team in the league, and a team that historically has been pretty good. I know last year was a bit of a down year for Richmond, but I mean, Richmond on paper, you looked at the team and you looked at their performance against Union Omaha at midweek, and yeah, they're pretty good. And USL Power Rankings that had them pretty high. And I know the USL League One office all listens to this show. So going to take a moment here to just speak directly to them of one, thank you for finally putting us top of your power rankings. But at this point, the power rankings mean nothing because we haven't been top of them at all throughout the season. And lest we forget, they picked us third to finish the season in 13th, which we are far from that right now. And having played 6 games, picked up 14 points. That's what we've been saying all along is just got to keep picking up points, got to keep picking up points. And they've done that and then some.
Yeah. The power rankings probably don't carry as much weight as other sports. And yeah, this team is just one that finds all sorts of ways to do it. You know, and it took another worldie to beat Delgado. I
Yeah.
mean, the commentators, I'm sure most of the people that listen to this were at the game, but the commentator said that there's no goalkeeper in the world that would have stopped that shot. And although I think that might have been a stretch, there's definitely some weight to that. I mean, it was a high danger area, and a shot from that distance, at this level, you're not really expecting, and it had to be striked perfectly. It was, it bent the right way and just snuck into that inside the post. And um, Delgado just
Yeah.
never had a chance. Never had a
No,
chance.
it was one of those in the stadium, and it literally happened right in front of me, where he took the touch, and then the second it left his boot, I said, "Uh oh,"
Yep.
and then it was just one of those that was it is destined to go in, and then it was a well deserved goal. We didn't close him down. We gave him too much space, and unfortunate, but happens, and they took advantage of it. And but that was pretty much it from them. I mean, we scored 8 minutes in. a great goal off a corner, which where the heck has all of these set piece goals come from? Um,
Well, and that's what I told I said it last week in the preview of the match. Like that's going to be expected more because those balls have been coming in all year,
yeah,
um, and it's one of those things that shouldn't surprise us because the balls have been good. They've been putting them in the right places, and as the chemistry continues, they'll find the back of the net more often.
yeah. I think in stadium at first it was announced Dangler got the goal, but it
Hmm.
did come off Fareen's head. He got the last touch, just heads it home. Another just great, well worked goal, and everyone in the right place at the right time. Just it's exactly what you wanted to see, and to score that early, it did set Richmond back, and we didn't really see a reaction out of them right away. We saw Naples really picked up the pace and started, trying to force more errors at the back and capitalize. And then, you know, not even 20 minutes later, 23rd minute, we capitalize on their mistake, and it's a little one, not really a 1-2, but a 1-2 where Henderlong plays Farine out wide, and then Farine just beats him down with pace, and then Henderlong does what he does. He gets in the box and buries it. A true number nine, a true striker, and that I love seeing that position back because that's such a classic world football position, and he's encompasses all of that.
Yeah, and Richmond really still looked dead until after that goal, and then they got some life, put some pressure on. Um, that their answer was coming. I think Naples kind of was in retreat mode. It felt like for the 10-11 minutes between goals.
Yeah.
Um,
It was
and,
almost like after we scored the second, it was all right, let's get it to halftime up 2-0. We're playing the second
yep.
best team in the league.
And yeah, and one thing I noticed with Naples is there were a couple times where Richmond had the ball in the attacking third and ended up playing it all the way back to the keeper. And like, if that's not a testament to your back line, like I don't know
Yeah.
what is. You know,
It,
I
we
playing it
gave
back
them
to a
absolutely
defender,
nothing in the final third.
and and another line that I'm stealing was they hunt in packs. It's always felt like, which is why that danger chance occurred, is because there's so much ball focus, and it almost looks like they're double triple teaming the ball and basically saying your only option is to play it back to your back line. That's your only way. You're not going to go forward, you're not going to go sideways. So if you're going to beat us, you're going to have to go backwards, reset, and try again. um, and that's what opened the space for the Richmond goal. And I think that was their best player that put that in. um, and that's going to be the high risk, high reward. That's how you get the counters. But I would have liked to see better possession. Obviously, we're not a possession dominant team, which is fine. I thought there were a lot of times where we just gave the ball away, not in clearance. Obviously clearances are different, but in situations where we could have moved the ball up the pitch, we tried these like super long passes and gave away the ball, I thought, way too easily at a lot of points. And I think Richmond did the same, equally as much. It almost just felt like both teams were just hoping that they'd get a funky bounce and get a breakaway, is almost what it felt like, for some of those passes that they were hoping. They were hopeful passes, not deliberate. And
Right.
that's something that will not work Wednesday. That's something that would need to be cleaned up against better competition. Um, but all in all, like again, it's kind of like we talked about last week. We're nitpicking at this point. Like these are nitpick, how we become the best team in the country, not how do we win the league.
Yeah. Yeah. We're perfectionists, I guess you could say, trying to perfect it, which is an impossible task. And like you said, they hunt in packs, and I think that's where our midfield did really well.
Hmm.
At the weekend with O'Connor and Onan was knowing when to apply the pressure to them and make them make a mistake, especially in their midfield, and not be able to even get into the final third. Like they were that first line of defense, which is what you wanted to see. And Heckenberg too did a great job playing in front of that back line as a defensive midfielder. Just like he kind of seemed to be the one to almost start the pressure. Um, and then all of a sudden we've got three guys rushing the ball, and I think that's what caused our second goal too. Was we put them under pressure in the midfield, boom, then we're countering. And it worked really well. When we do have the ball, you're right. I think we're almost skipping the midfield. Like we're skipping a step. We're skipping the midfield. We're trying to get our two outside left and right wingers to run onto stuff and then whip stuff into the box to find Henderlong, which has worked great so far.
You're right. Like it has worked, and it will probably continue to work. And
But
again,
when we're
if it's
talking about playing a USL Championship team, like you said, it's we'll see how it matches up, and
yeah,
who knows? I mean, Matt Poland, manager of the month for the month of March, well deserved.
hmm
He's probably got a couple tricks up his sleeve, especially knowing how much the Open Cup means to him.
it almost is kind of like early season football, like NFL, where you're not opening up the whole playbook yet.
Right,
You're saving stuff for key games, which I think we have coming up. I think um, it's to win the third round of this tournament would be massive for the club. Massive for I don't want to say national brand recognition, but you're starting to get there when you're going to be playing MLS sides. You're opening up more audience. That's a game that winning would mean so much for this club that I think that whatever tricks he's got up the sleeve, and hopefully he's got more than one because I don't want him to use everything, but it's time to bring out the big guns, and hopefully see something cheeky that we haven't seen so far this year. And again, worldies are going to happen, and you'll live with those. We haven't really. I don't remember the Sarasota goal, but goals have not come easy for our opponents. And based on how the Rowdies have played, I think I'm feeling comfortable with what our back line can provide, that we can hold fast and firm. But just want to see if you had anything else that Richmond game before we moved on, because a lot in the second half too. We didn't seem content with the 2-1, and it
no,
almost felt the way Richmond was playing that they were in a 2-2 draw position. Like it was almost like they were trying to save a point that they didn't have. Like almost like they didn't see the score.
right, yeah, they again, I don't think had anything really to answer, especially within that final third. Not a lot of big chances, and the chances they did have were all shots outside of the box that weren't great. We did have the goal called back off the corner, which I still don't really follow how that got called back, other than the keeper was laying on the ground, which he did a lot of, and that was all right in front of us the second half. Um, I was screaming at him, got a couple people around us to scream at him. Then I did look up their roster because I wanted to find out his name so I could call him by name, as one does,
Yes,
when
naturally.
you're trying to chant at someone, and saw he was 19. So I do apologize, but I guess if he's old enough to vote, he's old enough for me to be screaming at him. He can't rent a car, he can't drink a beer, but he can be screamed at by people in the
If
stands.
you're getting paid to do something, you should be able to heckle us. If there's somebody in the living right now, right, in the living room right here heckling me, I'd be a little upset because I'm not getting paid to do this. But if I was getting paid and somebody wanted to heckle me, go for it. You know, um, yeah, that goal, and that's kind of where the cool thing with kind of how our dynamic's been for a few games of like I'm watching the stream, you're at the game, and having those texting conversations of like, the replay. You see the replay, and absolutely not a penalty, like not a foul, like should not have been called. There was some tussling, and it really looked like it was his own guy that ran into him, and almost it was a total dive. It had no impact on the play. That keeper was not stopping the ball, and he was looking to get bailed out, and the ref bailed him out a few times, costing us a card. I'm glad the second time we didn't get the card. Um, the first one was a little bit closer, and card fine, but the second time I'm glad the card stayed in the pocket. But that goal
Yeah,
should have counted.
the the second time I don't think he got anywhere near
Mm-mm.
him. So to give a card for that would have been so harsh.
Ye-
Um,
Yeah, and then obviously there was the play in the box where our guy went down. They
yeah, I
didn't
think
show
that
a
was
replay.
Henderlong. I think got it looked like it was soft, but it looked like he was got foul, at least for me. And again, we've not seen the replay. It wasn't part of the highlight package, and I have not done the homework of actually going back and finding the clip within the game and slowing it down myself. But to give a yellow for a dive in the box, like it's one thing, okay, you don't call the penalty, but like it's got to be a pretty obvious dive, and I did not think that was an obvious dive.
Yeah, the camera angle for that was not good. I think even if you watched the replay and slowed it down, you would not be able to tell if there was contact. It's like a midfield angle, kind of like in between the beer garden sections. It was impossible to tell. And I was really hoping for a replay because they showed the interference that took away our goal. They showed that once or twice, and I almost wish they didn't because that ref came in so confidently that it was a foul, and you have to do that as an official. Um, but then when you see the replay and you're that wrong and showing that confidence, it's kind of like, ooh, bad luck.
Yeah.
You gave all
Well,
this
the
confidence.
the stadium erupted, and I don't think I heard the whistle. And the signal for goal is to point to the center circle, which he was doing, but he was really pointing to the center circle to signal a free kick. So we're all celebrating this goal, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh wait, he's given a free kick? How on earth has he given a free kick? I don't understand.
On the stream, like I knew right away that the goal was getting called off. You know, he waved it off, and it seemed like half the team saw that wave off, the other half didn't. Just disappointing, you know, not to get the 3-1 victory. Um, you know, we had another chance late that we weren't able to capitalize on. I think Henderlong sailed over the bar. Um, but you know, we kept the pressure on we kept the pressure on like it was a 2-2 game trying to get the 3 points. And Richmond was sitting back like they were in a 2-2 trying to preserve the one. And it was just an odd strategy for them. Almost like, you know, either that or they're waving the white flag of we're not going to lose another goal differential, which at this point in the year you can't be worried about your goal differential in match day 5.
Right.
But
Yeah, it kind of seemed like Richmond didn't have a lot, have much of an answer for anything, and they like to play a similar style that we do. It seems where they're getting out wide, using the pace down the wings, with Espinal, who was the guy that scored the goal, who's just a solid, veteran of the league. Um, it just using him down that wing, and we didn't let them do that. And we saw that's how they scored against Omaha, was that whipping the ball into the box, kind of like our second goal. And we didn't let them do that, and they didn't really have a workaround around it. I am curious. I don't know what their manager was so upset with
yeah,
at the end of the match, going up to the referees.
yeah, if anything, I felt the calls were mostly in Richmond's favor. So I don't know if somebody said something or what caused that reaction, and it was brief on the TV screen. Um, but for the life of me, and I wish that they did more post game press conferences. I'd be really curious for somebody to ask what got him so fired up, or if somebody were to ask Matt Poland, hey, what, because it was almost like he was disrespecting Poland, almost as if Poland had said something. Did our manager say something to him? Did he not like something? He says something that causes the reaction. I have no idea. He did shake the assistant coach's hand, but it looked like he kind of blew off. Matt Pullen went up to shake hands, and he kind of blew him off a little bit. And not sure if it was disrespecting him or he was just saw the ref and saw red, and I'm going after him. Um, but physical game, but not. It didn't seem like there was anything egregious. I did think that one of their guys should have picked up a red. And the
Yeah,
replay
for
was
that
clear.
tackle.
Yeah,
Yeah,
on the far corner, our attacking third ish. He lowered his shoulder and right into his back. Like it was not a put. Like Um, it was a clear shot, and I thought that at that point in the game deserved a second yellow, and he should have been sent off. That was. Um,
before that, even they had the tackle right at midfield. That it
yep, that
was
was.
studs up and high,
Yeah,
and I
that was
was
another one where if you have VAR, that is probably getting upgraded to a red.
yeah.
When I saw that replay, also should have been a red card. You don't see direct reds super often. You
Especially
kind of
that
know.
early into the game. I think it was like
Mhm.
the 30th minute.
Yeah, but you kind of know it when you see it, and it looked live like it might have been, and then you see the replay, and it. Like, I'm not a soccer ref, but that looked like that. It was a clear studs up, high kick at the knee, um, not really anywhere near the ball, and he picked up a yellow for it, and that didn't feel like the fitting punishment.
Yeah, I watching it live again, haven't seen the replay, wasn't part of the highlights package. But it seemed live like it was a red. It was early on in the game. I think it was actually before the 30th minute. It might have been like the 15th minute at
Yeah,
that
I think
point.
it was when we were up. I think we're up 2-0. I can pull up the game
I,
sheet
I did
again.
not take good enough notes. That's always been an issue of mine since school of not being able to take detailed enough notes. Um, did not write down the time, but I did write that should have been a red, right? Question mark.
Yep.
But yeah, it did seem like calls didn't go either team's way. To be fair, because I there was also some stuff I get what he's upset about, but I thought our complaints were a lot bigger in the grand scheme of things.
Sure.
But maybe we've got a little rivalry brewing here with Richmond. We do Naples goes to Richmond August 2nd. The next time these two teams meet. So late summer, a little past the midway point of the season. Should be put the kids to bed early that night for the 7 p.m. kickoff that Saturday night.
Yeah. I think that we're going to be a team that a lot of teams don't like, and
Yeah,
you know,
we've got
it,
that gritty, just that I'm not gonna say the words here, because it's a family podcast and a family show, but that mindset of there's a footballing term for this, um,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and
Anybody?
and we just get in other teams' head, and we've done it all season, and I love it. I love that we're kind of turning out to be the villains of the league, and as we should. We've built a great team. We seem to be better than everyone we've played so far. Let's do it.
And the other thing too is the hatred of the early success. Nobody likes when a new team comes in and is successful because everybody else has to work so hard for so many years just to sniff, hardware. And we're in a position this year, year one, that we're approaching the point where if we don't win the league, if we don't win something, you know, again, not to get ahead of ourselves, but we're approaching that point where we should be looking for hardware, not just a good opening season.
Yeah, it's a long season, but we're 6 games in now and kind of show no signs of stopping. Gonna have
Two
to keep
away.
everyone healthy and
Yep.
and keep on grinding out these keep on picking up points like we've said all year and grinding out these wins, but seems
Until we
doable.
do it on a hot July evening in Naples, that'll be the real test. Um, but yeah, another chance Wednesday to move on.
Yeah,
Um, and the Rowdies look vulnerable.
they do. Rowdy's coming off of another loss 2-1 this time at home to Loudoun United. Um, Loudoun United, to their credit, currently sits top of the East. They're also on 15 points after 6 games, 5 wins, 1 loss. Uh, so Loudoun United, not an easy out, pretty decent team. But 2-1 loss there, lost the week before to Charleston 2-1. They've picked up 1 win on the year, and that was at Miami FC 2-1. But yeah, Rowdies. What do you think of this one, Paul? You think they're beatable?
Yes. So the answer is yes. Looks like they have a couple injury question marks. One of their backline guys looks like is not going to be in the lineup. But we talked about it last week that it'll be interesting to see what type of team Tampa puts out there, and based on their preview of the match, they're going to be guns blazing. Um, I do think that this is going to be a spot where if you're Tampa, that this needs to be a get right spot and some pressure from up top down. Um, needs to probably be applied of, hey, we are a championship team. This is a team that we perceive as the little brother. We cannot lose this game. This is not a game that we need to take off and play squad rotations. This is a get right spot and, get us in position be successful for the remainder of their season. Um, and this is part one of two. We get them again on the 4th of July. Um, I, I am, based on what I've seen in my brief scouting of the Rowdies and what I've seen from us, you know, at least being tied at the end of regulation needs to be a focus. And I think that that's going to end up looking like a 1-1 or a 0-0 draw. Um, we're not going to be able to make mistakes. We're going to have to close down like we've been doing, and just be prepared that these guys are quote unquote better because they're in a better league. So they're going to be able to do things differently. It's like if you're a high school player and you go play with a college team, like things that you can kind of get away with at the lower level, you can't get away with. But yeah, they have not been scoring. It's not like this is a team that's losing 4-3 or 3-2. They're not scoring very much, which plays into our strong suit, where it seems like it's going to be another dogfight.
Yeah, Rowdies too sacked their manager last week, right before the Loudoun United game, firing Hearts legend and Leicester reject Robbie Nielsen. Um, if you know us, you know we're Forest fans, so it's always fun to see people have some association to Leicester get fired. We love it. So Steve Coleman's taken over. He's serving as their interim manager. Still have not appointed a full-time manager as of the recording of this podcast, and I doubt they'll have one in place by seeing as it's now almost 11 p.m. Uh, in the East. In the next 12 hours to manage this game. So you're going to have an interim manager. It seems like they're still messing with their squad quite a bit, trying to figure out who their best 11 are, what the best formation is. And you kind of hope that this isn't one of those get right games for them where everything clicks into place and they come out and they're firing on all cylinders and then they go on and just start taking over the USL Championship. But as of right now, they seem beatable. We seem to match up really well. I can see us using our pace down the wings like we have all season, and then just finding Henderlong in the box and he buries one.
Yeah, and something that's interesting, and obviously early in the year you're going to try different formations. It is odd that if you look at their past shapes, it seems like it's a different one every game, and not sure if that's an injury based decision or trying to figure out who they are. And it seems like they don't have an identity. Um, and you don't know what they're going to throw at it, which will probably be interesting for us. Seeing who knows what type of shape they're going to take. Um, but we've talked about it. We're going to play our game, and Matt Poland's going to hopefully dictate what the game looks like, not the other way around. And that's what's made us successful so far. Is what Naples wants to do is how the game's going to be played. Um,
Right.
and a team that's lost could be could be key. The other piece of that is the Fernandez brothers. Gustavo for us has played in 6 of our matches thus far versus his older brother. I think this is the first time they're playing against each other. Um, and he's only played I think once this year, so it'll be interesting to see if he gets the nod, if Gustavo gets the nod. It'll be interesting to see how that storyline plays out tomorrow night because if they're going to play the older brother, if Theo's going to get the run, that's going to be something new for that team as well. And then Gustavo for us on the back line could be an interesting knowledge piece that what one of their midfielders is going to do because he's grown up with them.
Right. Right. Yeah. I think the advantage is in our favor there with Gustavo kind of knowing he knows which way his older brother is going to go. Um, that's a great point. Also, it'll be interesting to see from our standpoint. Do we rotate the squad a little bit, having played as many games as we have, or do you keep if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Keep sending them out there. We've had these midweek games before and haven't really shown signs of wear and tear and tired legs out there. But again, we've got to remember we're playing another really good one Knoxville team who I don't think have lost yet on the season. Um, yeah, no losses. They've only played 3 games, so half of the games we've played, But we've got them on Saturday night at home, where they're out of the cup, I believe. So, oh no, they play. I'm sorry, they play Colorado Switchbacks, in Colorado tomorrow, and then have to travel to Naples.
Talk
So
about
a
a
lot of
grueling,
travel for them.
talking about the grueling schedule. I mean, you got to go from Colorado to Naples, playing at altitude in probably cooler temperatures, if not cold. I was in Detroit last week at the Tigers Yankees game. It was snowing. So, no idea what the weather in Colorado is going to be Wednesday at altitude. Then you're going to fly to Naples where it's going to be hot and quick turnaround. That seems like a game that Knoxville's almost going to have to throw one of those games away. Um, doesn't seem like in your long-term benefit to go full speed for both. Hopefully for us, it's the Saturday game that they say, hey, that's a league game. We can't throw that one away. Uh, but yeah, I'm hoping that minimal squad rotation, although our substitutes have been good, could be something where he puts one of those normal starting 11 guys on the bench and brings them in early in the second half. In the
Yeah,
either at halftime or very early on to try to spark some fresh legs in life, and almost as a strategy point of. We're going to start off with a slightly weaker squad because we're going to need fresh legs in that second half. Um, and we want those to be our best guys. So it'll
yeah.
be really interesting. Matt Poland's going to make his money tomorrow with his decision making.
Yeah, couple tough decisions. We have seen like the likes of Rubenstein, who came off the bench and I thought looked great out wide, at the weekend, and then Pasnick also started up top for us against Little Rock. I do hope to see Heckenberg, but I have no problem with Pasnick starting as well up top. And then like you said, bringing Heckenberg off the bench if or sorry, Henderlong. That Henderlong and Heckenberg's, man, it's late, and those names both playing in the middle of the field too. Henderlong, up top. Heckenberg, I think, will start probably defensive midfield again, and he just seems to be such a key piece before to prevent things from getting to our back line. He's almost like the first line of defense there.
So I was thinking about that earlier today, or yesterday, whatever. How long it took me to fully understand the Forest squad and the pieces of that puzzle. So I wonder how long it's going to take me to where I fully like kind of know all the guys, what their roles are, what they do well. Because you're right, it is still, we're only a few games in and figuring out because there's no history. Like I don't know the history of these guys, like you do with some of the Premier League players. Um, yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what they put forward. You have to think that they're going to be hungry, and obviously we haven't talked to any of the players or the coaching staff, but you got to think that this is one that's got to mean more to us than it does to Tampa, who's been around. Um, that this win um, would be massive, massive for the club,
Yeah,
massive stepping stone. In whether Tampa's got their ones or their twos out there, a win's a win. And you don't even need to win; you just need to advance, survive and advance.
yeah, that's what it's all
Pull off the
about. And
cup
then
set and move on to Knoxville Saturday.
yeah, and then see who you're getting the next round to have your name in the hat the next round, or I guess it's an envelope. Having watched the U.S. Open Cup draw because I've become obsessed with this tournament, that is one thing I think the U.S. Open Cup is lacking is the lack of little lottery balls. And they actually put the names inside the balls, but I want to see like true lottery ping pong balls with numbers on them, and they draw them out, and each number equates to
What
a
team?
team like the FA Cup. That's where the true excitement is, in my opinion,
Yeah,
as an Open Cup sicko that I've become.
I'm guessing that this is your first year watching, so I'm wondering if, as the tournament progressive, if that's what they're when really everybody becomes open. Because I think we talked about it earlier that it's regional at first.
Yeah,
Obviously, us
I
playing
think they're
Tampa.
keeping it regional, but next round's when the big boys come in with the MLS, and it would love to take on an MLS side and
And,
take take them out.
and just starting to talk about the national recognition. And I think that, I've had some people that I work with that have come to me talking about the USL and that promotion relegation's coming to American soccer. What does that mean? And talking about soccer with people who don't know soccer or talk about soccer. Like just that buzz of, hey, this is a USL League One team that could be in the top flight of American soccer in just a few years, even though they're a second tier league, second tier team. Um, in 3 years, we could be a squad. Again, we haven't gotten to our sicko fun. What's this going to look like segment yet? We're saving that for later. But yeah, like just the national recognition of Naples and getting it on the map that we do have a professional sports team down here and just another attraction to the great city. And a lot of people know about Naples, but not much other than it's a great golf town. Old people golf. That's what they know, beaches, and now it's hopefully going to be soccer. It's a soccer hub.
Yeah, we've seen, I think, such a I mean, growing up in Naples and having played the game my whole life, you kind of knew that we had this soccer culture, but seeing it actually show up and show out week in and week out, whether it be, La Barra 239 banging the drums and creating an atmosphere, to just all these soccer fans and even people that aren't soccer fans. Like I sat next to some people at the weekend who were like, "Oh yeah, so if we lose this game, the season's over." And I was like, "No, no, no, that's the Open Cup." And they're like, "Oh," and then they left and they're like, "So when's the next game?" I was like, "Well, Wednesday," and then there's another game Saturday. And they're like, "Are tickets still available?" And I was like, "Yeah, but better get them fast because again, we had over 4,000 people there on Saturday night, which is like the fact that over 4,000 people are showing up for a pro soccer, which one, the fact that we have a pro soccer team in Naples to me is still unbelievable. And two, the fact that we have over 4,000 people showing up each week to support this and people are like them who are sitting next to are like, yeah, I can't wait for next Saturday. We'll be back. It's
It'll be interesting to see who drives down 75 tomorrow. See what type of culture the Rowdies have because I've heard of their culture. They seem like they have a pretty good club. I've heard about them for years, and I've never been to a game, but always was kind of like a bucket list. Hey, like I could go do that. Because the Naples was the first professional soccer game I'd ever been to. Anything really the first non-collegiate or 8U girls soccer game for my buddy's cousin that we used to go tailgate the games on a Saturday afternoon. Um, having that atmosphere and seeing what they bring down will be interesting. And you're right. Like I got the email for the Open Cup and I was like, I'm going. Booked my ticket like the next day without even like thinking about anything else. Was like, I will go. I'm going Wednesday. Like
you're
I
there.
I saw
Yeah,
it, saw a draw. I said, got the email. I said, I'm in. I'm flying. Um, Driving over tomorrow. Like very excited. I know you're bummed you're going to be gone for work. I think that it's one of those, you know, another opportunity, another cup game, another win or go home. Those games matter more. You know, um,
right.
so hopefully we get another great showing. It sounded like last time midweek cup match wasn't as busy, but hopefully now that the word
But
spread,
still, yeah, over
still
2,000
plenty.
people, which was
Yeah.
the I think the second most attended Open Cup match of that game week.
And I suspect that I would suspect this will be another 30, 3,000 plus. Um,
I hope so because it was, and if we can create a bit of an atmosphere, like the Rowdies do create a decent atmosphere, but honestly, having been to a couple of Rowdies games myself, outside of them having Bromosas, which is a great beer name, two an even better IPA, um, outside of that, I think our atmosphere has been better. All year. They play in an old baseball stadium. It's very old. Our stadium's very modern and up to date. And other than I've never been a fan of AstroTurf pitches. That's about all they've got on us is bromosas and natural grass.
Yeah, it's one of those games. I think we've got the players. I think we're gonna have the coaching advantage, which we've talked about being more important than people realize in soccer. That the coaching advantage is massive, and we'll see. Um, Matt Pullen has done nothing to steer us wrong. There's no reason for us to question. Um, what he's going to do, why he's going to do it, because there's always a plan, and they seem to execute the plan really, really well. I'd be curious if Matt Pullen thinks the same. Um,
Yeah, I'd
But
love to hear him in the training sessions.
it seems like they have a game plan, they stick to it, and they execute it. And if a worldie's going to beat you, you're going to live with that. And maybe we see another one tomorrow night, but and, if that's how we go down, they hit a shot from outside the box that's ridiculous, and that's how our Open Cup run ends. You'll tip your cap and move forward to the next one. Um, but I think that this team needs to be thinking we're going to advance. We're going to pull the cup set off and move on.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think we've said it all since last week. Rowdies are beatable. And if you're wondering if you're not able to make it to the game, like I am not, unfortunately, although I exhausted all my resources through work to try and get home for this game on a Wednesday night. Having to be out of town all week for work has been killing me. You can watch it. These Open Cup matches now are all streamed on Paramount Plus, and this game is actually streamed on the CBS Golazo network, which you can find on the Roku, those fast channels. When you go to on your, I've got the Roku. You go to Live TV, super easy. Also, the CBS Sports app has it for free, I believe. So I will be watching on CBS Golazo network, where I also catch our co-owner Nico Cantor. Which shout out to him. I'm sure he listens to the podcast as well with all the CBS Morning Footy crew. Um,
Is
but yeah,
is Whitty going to be on the call? Do we know who's calling the game?
I do not. I kind of hope we have the fancy lad. It was cool seeing him as Lebitard show fans, seeing him mention FC Naples. It was a little worlds collide moment for us.
It's been two for years, getting some love. Um, yeah, what do you got for prediction? What are you thinking?
I'll go gritty 1-0 win to Naples, 87th minute winner. Just a cross played into the six, and Henderlong's there to just bury it in the back of the net.
I'm going 1-1, and I'm only going to go with 1-1 because I want to see Delgado in penalties. Um,
Ooh,
that would make my night. Only if we win. I'd rather win than see Delgado in penalties, but seeing Delgado just stonewall them in penalties, and again, we haven't seen him against the penalty yet, so um, not sure what type of keeper he is against penalties, but um, something tells me it's going to be a long Wednesday night because I have to be back in Fort Lauderdale Thursday. So something just tells me with how life goes, it's not going to be an early night. It is going to be a leaving the pitch, leaving the stadium around 10 o'clock tomorrow night. It seems that's just how it goes.
well, hopefully it's you guys are celebrating in the beer garden with a post match, couple post match FC Naples blonde pale ales, or blonde ales, just chilling in the beer garden, listening to some live music, celebrating the victory and waiting to see who we get in the next round.
I think the question that the fans are wondering is, are we going to do an episode tomorrow? Or we're not ready for that. I don't think we're ready for the live stream yet.
I think it'll have to depend on the result. I might
Okay.
not be able to. I'll have to talk if we win and it's a great showing. I might have to hop on and talk to someone on YouTube or Twitch or wherever we can figure out how we can stream this show.
Well, don't do work tomorrow. Figure out how we can make that happen, and I'll hop on in the the car ride home, car ride back. I can we'll hop on and have a little I-75 powwow, alligator alley until I run out of service, and
I love
head
it.
back to counting alligators.
Now, if we could only figure out a way to stream it on AM radio, that would be peak sport. Like a phone-in show on AM radio after the game would be peak sports talk radio, in my opinion.
That would be old school classic. Something that if we had more resources or time or money, we could potentially. Something tells me AM airway not expensive these days.
Yeah, I just have to do the research. Uh,
Just another thing to aggravate the wife when it comes
yes.
to our time with soccer. Yeah, so it'll be cool. My first game back in a couple weeks, and looking forward to seeing what the lads bring.
Yeah, can't wait for it. Any closing thoughts, Paul, before we go?
Top of the league, and tomorrow will not change. Will not change that. We will wake up Thursday morning still top of the league, whether we're in the fourth round or not. Still top of the league.
Yep. Yep, still top of the league and I can't I can't wait to beat the Rowdies this week and start this new rivalry, which we're still trying to name. I saw someone call it the Tamiami Tussle. Pretty good. Pretty good.
Better
Love an
than the golf
alliteration.
one. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, don't think we can call it that, unfortunately. Um, but some sort of we're still working on the name. Again, if you have any names, please send them to us. You can find us on Instagram, Forza Naples Pod. We'll drop our email down in the podcast description. But thank you so much for listening, as always, and come on Naples. We'll see you soon.